buying a new home, there are 5 common mistakes that people make. Jeanette Schneider, president of RE/MAX of Southeastern Michigan, is here to help us avoid them. Jeanette, before we get to that, big picture, what are you seeing locally here in Southeastern Michigan right now as far as the real estate market goes?
Well, the real estate market is resilient given the fact that we've got higher interest rates and very low supply of homes. But buyers, man, they are, we still have very active and serious buyers out there, which is keeping home prices stable or slightly increasing.
So what about those buyers? Maybe there's somebody out there that is looking at homes, wants to buy a home, and keeps missing out on that home. What mistakes are they making?
Honestly, they may not be making a lot of mistakes. Sometimes right now it's persistence and patience. I mean, realistically, and I guess, but if they're going to make a mistake, let's make sure they're working with an agent, because that's probably the first thing you want to make sure you're doing as a serious buyer. Have an agent that you're working with that knows what you're looking for and can have an ear to the ground to help you find it.
Somebody that is working for you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Talk to me about pre-approval, because you know, we talk now, if a nice home is on the market, chances are that home is gone relatively soon. They don't have time for you to be messing around.
They really don't. I mean, you want to be pre-approved for 2 reasons. One, to understand what you can afford in today's market. That's very critical. But to be taken seriously as a buyer, you walk in, you see a house you like, and you want to make an offer, you have to have that pre-approval ready to go, or it's wasted time for you to get back, find a lender, submit your application, and by then somebody else can have an offer come in.
And not only, and we've seen these, houses, bidding wars go for these houses too that are reasonably priced.
Yes.
Those continue to go up.
They do. I mean, especially if you're, it depends on the side of town, the price point. But let's say anything from like $350 to $400 is still a very popular price point, right? And it's not uncommon for there to be multiple showings or a weekend of open houses and then multiple bids coming in. You don't want to be getting your act together on the back end with your pre-approval while 16 other people already put their offer in.
Right,
so.
No doubt. Mistake number 3, not being realistic about necessities with contributing parties. What is that?
Well, if you're buying a house on your own, you know there's going to be some compromises, right? If you're buying it with a spouse, a partner, a friend, a family member, a sibling, you've got compounding, things that you're taking a look at. So you want to be very transparent, open, and have the conversations with anybody you're buying a house with as far as where do you want to live, geographic-wise, how big of a house, how much of a payment are you both comfortable making? Are you into having a house that needs a little work, or do you want turnkey? All of those are things that you really should have conversations about before you get seriously looking, so that you're not sitting there with one party ready to go, found the dream house, and the other one's sitting their arms crossed going, oh, not a prayer.
I wanted turnkey when we bought our house, and 9 years later we're still doing it.
Turnkey has different definitions, doesn't it?
Exactly. Number 4, not getting a home inspection. This is a big one too.
It is. I mean, and back a couple years ago when things were really, really hot coming out of COVID, a lot of buyers were foregoing inspections. I was never a fan of it then. I mean, I understood kind of how it happened, but never a fan of it then, not a fan of it now. As a buyer, you absolutely want to protect the investment you're about to make. You saved a lot of money to put this down payment. You're going to make a monthly mortgage payment. You have every right to know if that house is structurally sound, if there's any water issues, electrical issues. I would say, please, as a buyer, have the inspection done. You can always maybe have it done for informational purposes, where you're going to say to the seller, I'm not going to come after you to fix it,
right?
But I need to know what's in this house.
Mistake number 5, people not having enough money saved.
Correct.
For extra costs.
For extra costs. I mean, a lot of focus gets put on the down payment, rightfully so. But that's just the beginning.
Right.
Because then you have an inspection fee and an appraisal fee and closing fees, and you're going to have to pay for homeowners insurance and prorated taxes, and you've got to move your stuff. And even if that's pizza and beer for your friends, as a first-time buyer, right, or it's a big moving truck, those are still expenses you want to make sure you're saving and budgeting for.
Great stuff, Jeanette. Thank you so much. This is great. Where can people find you?
We can find us at remax-detroit.com.
Love that. Jeanette, great info.
Thank you.
Awesome. And we will be right back.